learned from the counterterrorism and counterinsurgency fight to better prepare us to get back to our unconventional warfare, irregular warfare roots?
Oh,
that's a big question.
That's a big question, and it's a solemn question, because sometimes you almost tend to seem derogatory when you're like, oh, because of the GWOT, we're unprepared for this next thing. How do we? I mean, I couldn't be further from the truth. I've never been more proud to be a product of the GWOT, because look at how we, with joint task forces and fusing intelligence and going after decentralized networks and all those things, and you take a lot of those foundational elements of just solving really dynamic, complex problems and applying it. But if you remember a couple months ago now, the Ravens kicker, Justin Tucker, was out there warming up. Mm-hmm. He's just kicking, and he's really frustrating the Chiefs at the time. He's kicking the ball, and it's going into him. And then you look at that, and you see the special teams players trying to warm up while you got the folks doing. What we got to change now is we're not going to be the primary effort. But by God, when you come in you might have to kick it's all a metaphor, but you have to kick a field goal that's going to win the game or change field position with a punt. So now we're in that stage now where people know that SOF is really, really good. We can turn on big problems and come to solutions rapidly, but we can't be distracting. So we got to remain humble in our hearts, but with a great deal of professionalism. So we're not frustrating. So people know that we're good, but we're not disrupting the warm-ups, so to speak, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fran, I think you answered your question with an answer. You mentioned pre-9/11, we were always focusing on our core missions, right? SF core missions, for example. And there was really no direct enemy that we were focusing on. It was really those missions and training day in, day out. You name them. I can list them for you. So then to your point, 9/11 hits. We kind of focused on two big ones, went away for a little bit. I think we're back to that now, where we need to go back and train on all our core missions, right? And the focus is certain enemies out there. But at the end of the day, when 9/11 hit, we were ready. It didn't matter what it was, right? We were ready. That balloon hit, and we sent our soldiers in. And to your point, the counterinsurgency, because of the training everyone had done, it was just a matter of time where we became SMEs on it, per se. So I think we're there now, where we need to go back to that relook doctrine, get back out, continue to train, because again, every group's still responsible for certain parts of the world. So you have to focus on all the missions, because every part of the world is set up different. The operational environment is going to be different. So I think that's where we're back to now. That's our refocus, the commander's focus, when he lays down what the vision is for training and where we're doing training and how to get after training. We're there now, and we're seeing some effects of that based on some CTC, the training centers out there, of what's being conducted, and then what we're putting forth based on the lessons learned.
Yeah, and the only thing I'd add before we go on is the foundational elements of by, with, and through, and achieving relative support. Those didn't atrophy. Maybe didn't talk about them, highlight them. That paradigm has shifted, and we talk about them. But if you ever look at old Jefe here, old Chieftain, when he goes back to Okinawa, he's like the governor. And being here and you see the 10th group guys, you got generational partnerships. That's global. That didn't go away. And so we're talking about the right things. We're thinking about the right things, and we're doing it by, with, and through. Yeah.
How do you define the next fight?
All right, I'll give that one a stab.
So I think that one. I would go first every time. I act like I didn't hear you.
So we do talk about this quite a bit, and again, based on what technology has to offer nowadays and what we're looking at to modernize. Number one is first contact should not be human contact. It should be some sort of tech or robotic, which makes sense. But again, kind of like what I talked about a little bit just a minute ago, is understanding each global operational environment, because it's going to be different yet similar, if that makes sense, right? You may not need all 20 things in one operational environment. Maybe need 12 of those things, whatever they may be. We just need to be prepared. But I think it is going to be truly a LSCO fight, kind of what we're seeing a little bit in Ukraine, per se. And again, pre-9/11, that's what we used to train. When you think about, the order of battle from the Soviet Union, that's what we used to train on. It was LSCO. Yeah. And again, but how do we integrate better now with Big Army, right, in support of LSCO? So that's key, is working with them more, because that's ultimately we're now going to be in the supporting role for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tell you, it's low-hanging fruit, but you go back to September 10th, 2001. Had I been asked that, I was, Staff Sergeant Waldo on the fondest operational detachment that's ever been, ODA 1A2, and we're getting ready to do a training in Thailand, and the terrorists landed airplanes in the building. That came out of nowhere. I think the next fight is ill-defined. We can predict in LISCO and remote advise and assist and robotics, and we're not going to know, we're not going to see it, and we're probably going to get we're probably going to get punched, and we'll probably get on the map, but no one's going to get off the bat better than this force and our partners. So I think the next fight, to me, I can't define it, not because I haven't thought about it, because I don't know, but I do know that we will be ready for whatever it may be.